also, it's December. As you know, the Ghana Health Service declared December as vaccination month. Have you gotten your vaccination? If not, if you like maps, make sure that you go and get your vaccine.
Yes, definitely. And of course, in between that, we have sports, we have showbiz, and who knows what else. So it promises to be an exciting AM show this morning.
Talking about sports, make sure you join us at 7 o'clock because Muftal has breaking news.
Breaking
And I can't wait for you guys to hear
breaking,
this.
as in present continuous. It is breaking.
It is
still breaking.
It is still
will break.
It will broke. It will broke it.
Okay. All right, Mas.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but join us for sports.
Yeah, that's it for the
AM,
AM show. Thank you so much for watching. We promise you an incredible show. Don't go anywhere. Coming up next is the news with Maps.
This season of giving, sharing, and gratitude, we pause to appreciate you, the special people who made our journey joyful. We say a big thank you. From all of us here at the Multimedia Group and our families to your families. Grateful hearts. Asida, Christ at work.
Let's settle now for the news. In our first story, government has placed another curfew on Boku in the Upper East region through an executive instrument following new chieftaincy conflicts in the area. And the latest directive movement is expected to cease from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. daily. This comes in the wake of withdrawal by officials of the National Peace Council dispatched to Boku to aid in mediation efforts. Joy News understands they have returned to Accra after they were caught in a crossfire of the warring factions. According to Chairman of the National Peace Council, Reverend Dr. Ernest Edu-Jemfi, who signed a statement urging both sides to use non-violent means to address their concerns, the team of mediators will return to work when the situation normalizes.
The team arrived in the morning when there was gunshot, and so they could not do the mediating work that they were supposed to do. They went along with some CSOs who've been partnering with us as far as the work is concerned. They met the regional minister and some other dignitaries in the north in what can be done. We are hoping that after today, the situation will be clearer. Because one of the festivals was supposed to have been celebrated today. As at now, we have no word as to what is happening now. But after today, if the situation remains calm, then the team might go back to see what we can do to help resolve the problems there. Yeah, we had a peace advisory team that is in Boku. Unfortunately, the key person who was leading the team died a few weeks ago. And so that disrupted our operations a little bit. But we hope to get them back together. But whilst we do this, we think that there's a need for a holistic resolution of the problem. And so we'll be getting in touch with the Ministry of Chieftaincy Affairs because it's purely a chieftaincy matter. So once we resolve the situation and there is peace, there's a need to resolve the chieftaincy issue so that this thing will be done once and for all. So we'll be liaising with all those partners to ensure that we bring lasting solution to the problem that is in the area.
In other stories, Member of Parliament for Boku Central, Mahama Yarga, is asking the people to dialogue and embrace peace.
Well, I find the killings unfortunate and condemnable. It's unfortunate that we've gotten to that point. So what I can do now is to appeal to everybody to cooperate with the law enforcement agencies for us to be able to bring the situation under control and then ensure that we go after the perpetrators of violence and then stop that from happening. And then the issues will be dealt with appropriately. I think at this point, we just have to appeal to everybody to cooperate with the law enforcement agencies and to urge all sides not to use violence.
Well, with that said, already we're told that the Peace Council team that were supposed to be mediating have pulled out because they were caught in the melee, amongst others. Do you know what exactly then is being done on the part of the security and the warring factions to bring peace to the area?
Oh, Boku is very calm now. Actually, we are at the Untitled Festival, which is going on well. The security agencies have provided the necessary cover for the celebration to take place, and we are gathered here, and the celebration is ongoing. So there's calm here. I think that what we need is to sustain it. So I urge the law enforcement agencies to increase the personnel and men here and the resources for them to be able to effectively, keep the peace. And then also we can engage with all sides to ensure that we don't have violent activities in other parts of the country.
Have such engagements already begun?
I can say that for a while now, through my discussions with the relevant ministers, the Minister for National Security, Defense, Interior, Regional Minister for Upper East, and even colleague members of Parliament, I know there's been discussions on all sides involving the Nairis Palace, Boku, and all other relevant actors trying to get everybody on board for us to work towards peace. And so I think that the engagement will continue. We can never be tired of working to ensure peace.
Meanwhile, there's a spillover of this renewed conflict in Boku, in Nalerugu and Gambaga in the northeast region. The youth there are protesting the reported arrest of two of their elder who were picked up whilst on official traditional duty. Correspondent Ilyasu Tanko reports.
The agitations by the youth of Nalerugu and Gambaga are said to have been sparked by the killing of two young men said to be natives of Gambaga, as well as the arrest of some elders of the Mamprugu overlord. It is still unclear circumstances leading to the death of these young men, but sources said they were brutally murdered in the Boku town after being trapped in the violent clash which started Monday night. Earlier report has suggested there were attempts by the rival faction to stop the burial of the deceased in Boku, a development that fueled the anger in Gambaga. The youth of Nalerugu, on the other hand, have been angered by the arrest of emissaries of the Mamprugu overlord, who were allegedly sent to Boku to officiate a traditional funeral ceremony. This morning, Wednesday, December 29th, the Nalerugu youth besieged the palace of the Mamprugu king, demanding the whereabouts of the arrested elders as well as their immediate release. The development prompted the regional minister to lead the regional security commanders to engage in dialogue with traditional authorities of the two towns. Here is the regional minister, Yidana Zakari, speaking to Joy News in Gambaga.
I would want first to send my condolences and the people of the Northeast region and the government of the Republic of Ghana to their bereaved families. It's unfortunate that they were caught up in the middle of all that happened and unfortunately lost their lives. We can only wish them well wherever they may be. The next is to sincerely thank the overlord of Mamprugu, the Nayiru, for the leadership role he has played in all this. The same way I want to thank Mbagambarana for the role that he has played, and to thank the chief imam of Mamprugu for the leadership role he has also played. I think their voice is the voice of reason, and that is how come we are able to contain the situation so far.
The minister also commended the youth for not taking the laws into their hands and pleaded with them to continue to remain calm.
Let me also thank the youth for listening to leadership. In all this, we need to make peace so that we can go about our daily activities without any fear or hindrance. And I think so far, highly commendable. There are still issues to be dealt with, and we are working on them.
The minister also spoke about the need to keep peace and harmony in the area while asking for support.
3 persons have been arrested in connection with the clashes at Mampongton in the Kwabre East municipality. Violence erupted in the town Monday night after 2 groups from 2 electoral areas clashed following an attack on a young man whom police say was robbed of his mobile phone on Christmas Eve. At least 4 people were injured as the rampaging youth destroyed some properties, forcing residents to flee for safety.
Violence erupted in the town Monday night after youth groups from 2 electoral areas within the town clashed following an attack on a young man who police say was robbed of his mobile phone on Christmas Eve. At least 4 people were injured as the rampaging youth destroyed some properties, forcing residents to flee for safety. The police were later called in to maintain law and order. They held talks with opinion leaders and urged the youth to remain calm. Security was later beefed up in the area following reports of fresh attack on a local mosque by some unknown persons. The police have, however, confirmed the arrest of 3 suspects. Chief Superintendent Stephen Kwesikwache is district commander.
And currently 3 of them are in custody and we are assisting investigation. Whilst the victims have also been visited at the hospital. You yourself can even bear us out that when they're coming, there's total peace in town. And we are not withdrawing the men. And as I said, there are certain things we not even put it on air. Security matters is involved a lot. The uniformed men are patrolling, as well as the CID men are also going around.
At the Municipal Security Council meeting, the MC in the North Sibebonsu said the council has put in place measures to ensure lasting peace in the area.
Of the conflicts and the situation is under control. That's what I tell you. And you can see the Zongo chief here, and then the Mampongton hearings representative is also around. They came, and there's been a mutual agreement that they are all going to be peaceful. And we came to a conclusion that this is not an escalation between the Zongo youth and the Ashanti youth as being perceived out there. Some criminals perpetrated the whole thing. So we are going to arrest the culprits as the mother is standing beside me. And on the way forward, like we were saying, I've asked them to form a WhatsApp platform. About 10 people from the Zongo side, 10 people from the Ashanti side, so that if there is any misunderstanding, we solve it right off there so that there wouldn't be any escalations.
Reporting for Joy News, Kwesi Debra.
9 communities in the Jasikant district have received training and sensitization from a Plan International to equip the communities develop rural-based solutions to challenges facing their communities. According to the NGO, government and other agencies may not at all times have the resources to tackle all challenges, hence the need to step in and bridge the existing gaps. The training is aimed at improving the lives of girls, young women and other vulnerable groups in society. Correspondent Peter Senu reports.
Solution to problems cannot be left at the doorstep of government and the various district assemblies. This is according to Plan International, the NGO whose aim is, among other things, to empower girls, young women and women in society to have decent living conditions. The NGO has engaged 9 communities in the Jasikant district who have challenges to access to quality education, retention and progression in school. The selected communities were trained on the need to develop community-based solutions to their development challenges rather than relying on central government to fix them, which oftentimes is the case. Suleiman Agbanaho is the Southern Program Influencing and Impact Area Manager.
We believe that communities have their needs, communities have their aspirations, and communities definitely will need development. And in order to ensure that you're able to support communities to able to put their development aspirations, we believe that they need to have a document that will lead them into that future so far as where they want to go. If communities also have their own development plans that is generated by themselves, they will take responsibility, own it, and be able to put into action. So Plan International Ghana is just here to support the communities to able to come out with their own development plans and to be able to sell these development plans to the outside world, any organization that they think they can work with, and also take responsibility and ensuring that they implement some of those programs. But we know that definitely the government as well as this assembly do not have all the resources at its disposal to be able to carry out development interventions. And as a development organization, as an NGO, we are here to support the effort of government as well as the effort of the communities to support them to do the development. Whatever we do, we are looking at the children, especially girls, and then the youth, and as well as young women, wherever we work.
Beneficiary community representatives have also been speaking to Joy News on what challenges are of priority to them. Teenage pregnancy, retention in school, and parental responsibility are some areas they say are critical for their immediate attention.
The problem I would like to resolve in my community is about teenage pregnancy and a school dropout. That is my major problem in that community. And after all, I will seek help from wherever it will come from to have at least computer center and a very nice primary school for the school children in the community.
By taking their pieces of advice and everything, our community will see some kind of enlightenment. I decided to use their workshop for action plan for my community. So I'm hoping to meet my elders so that we can move on by giving the KG, the kindergarten, upliftment to our area, because we have a lot of children in the catchment area, and the area being a farming community, they need the KG so that the parents can leave their children there and go to their farms and come back and take them safely.
Peter Sanu for Joy News.
Ryan Foundation, a charity organization, has put smiles on the faces of deprived residents in the Gonikope enclave of the Akatsi South municipality in the Volta region during Christmas. The residents received food items, clothing, shoes, and also benefited from an educative talk on livelihood empowerment and healthy living. There's more in this report.
Gonikope is a farming community in the Akatsi South municipality of the Volta region where residents mostly live impoverished lifestyles. The community lacks basic social amenities such as electricity, good access roads, and potable water. Realizing the economic hardship being faced by these rural dwellers, the Rayon Foundation decided to provide them with food and clothing to celebrate the Yuletide. The items were shared among more than 400 residents. Jonathan Ray Hocker is the Chief Executive Officer of Rayon Foundation.
Yes, so today we are at Gonikope in the Volta region. What we seek to do here today, we know we are in Christmas season, and we just want to bless our brothers and sisters here with some clothes, food items, drinks for the kids, so that they can also have feel of the Christmas. You know, Christmas is all about birth of Christ. It's all about giving and making merry with your neighbors. So that's what brought us here today. So Rayon Foundation, we just want to say a big thank you to the people at Gonikope for receiving us. and also to those who supported us in many ways, both in cash and kind. We just want to say God bless you.
The assembly member for the area thanked the foundation for remembering them during Christmas.
How you came, how we receive you alone should tell you that we are ready for you. And it is something that we're hoping that every year it should be happening. Even if it can happen twice a year, we will be grateful to receive you. Because like you can see yourself, the people are happy. The people are happy. Even those who don't have, they will get something. It will shock you that maybe there are some people who might not even get rice to eat this Christmas or New Year season, this festive season. But your presence here has given some kind of hope to some people. Even the sermon you give us alone has given a lot of hope to the people over here. And I believe
Fifi mi mokpo gam ya flo awuna de viawo. Efo ya je ami amaro mi mokpo gam ya flo monu no wodu. Ko ma wodi di wo kwevene mi ko wo kpara mi an. Akpo gbogbo emi adanu. Wo ga kpara mi o ha mi an. Na fotro wo ga we na mi ala. Mi o ha mi an o yomo.
The residents are hopeful other philanthropic organizations would help provide them with the basic social amenities to enhance their livelihoods. Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News, Gonikope.
On that Christmas smile note, I'm going to take a quick breather. We'll be back with the online reviews.
In this season of giving, sharing, and gratitude, we pause to appreciate you, the special people who made our journey joyful. We say a big thank you. From all of us here at the Multimedia Group and our families to your families, grateful hearts. Asida, Christ at work.
Statesman, Chronicle, Business and Financial Times, the Daily Dispatch, the Publisher, the Custodian. Should I keep going? Are you going to stop me or should I keep going?
We're greeting all of our newspaper
We are greeting all of our newspaper friends and looking forward to having you back soon. But the truth is, actually, there's not that much news per se.
Yeah, ish.
I mean, there's
Parliament
Parliament, exactly.
Is on break.
But there's also what's going on in Boku.
Yeah.
There's some of the murders around.
Mm-hmm.
But I think people are kind of just...
It's Christmas.
Taking it easy.
Taking it easy. But like after Christmas, I'm sure there'll be a lot of news.
There'll be, yeah, especially when Parliament goes back. Because we really don't know what the fate of the e-levy is.
I know.
And the thing is, so yesterday I was listening to Winston Amwa on the Super Morning Show when I was driving home, and they were talking about the e-levy. And it hit me that... I mean, I knew this, but it hits me that the e-levy is funding like some of the major projects for next year.
Yeah. So it has to be passed.
Well, because I've been looking forward to,
side.
for example, the Youth Start program, which is going to give money to the youth, you know, to kind of start their businesses and train them and all of that. And it's something I was very excited about. Then yesterday, the left side of my brain and the right side of my brain, like, ping!
Actually,
if we don't do the e-levy...
So you're for the e-levy?
I'm not for the e-levy, but I'm recognizing what it would mean if it wasn't passed.
Okay.
Unless, of course, the government is able to find the money from somewhere else. I don't know. So yeah, anyway.
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't even want to talk about
it. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, that's it. So what do you want to talk about?
We're going to myjoyonline.com.
Okay.
Right? And our top story is that robbers shot pharmacist in Kumasi. Talking about robbers shooting. Yesterday I was on the Spintex Road.
I won't ask what you were doing there.
I was Spintexing.
Yeah.
2 cars in front of me So this random guy is just walking, you know, because it's quite busy, yeah?
Okay.
Yeah, so he's walking, and then all of a sudden he pulls out a gun. Hey! He pulls out a gun, and he just points it at like some car in front of me. Chale.
Are you serious?
Yeah, look, I'm dead serious.
Were there cameras? Like, were they shooting a movie?
No, anymore.
Wow.
And so I was on the phone with someone, and I was just like, oh my word, oh my, like I was shocked. So now the two cars in front of me are just there. They're like paused. They're like, we're just there, not doing anything. And then so what happened is that there was an Okada park next to me. Yeah, there was an Okada park next to me, and the guy who had just robbed the car in front of me, like, ran into my direction. I was like, where is this guy going? And then the Okada that was next to me that I didn't see, he just jumped on that Okada. And you should have seen how happy like not even happy, he was just like so joyful when he was crossing the road, like, yeah, I just got away with like some like nice cash, because it looked like it was like an envelope. So it had some money. So it might mean that they trailed the guy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He went to the bank, got money, and then
something. So yeah, so the Okada was parked next to me, and then he just jumped off on the Okada, and there were two people on the Okada already, and then he was the third one, and he jumped, and we're just like shocked and stunned, and then the guy just tried to park. Now here's the devastating part. When I drove past, there was a baby boy in the passenger. That was like a toddler in the passenger seats. So that means this guy pointed the gun at the toddler.
Yeah.
And obviously the dad had no choice. Like,
wow.
Yeah.
This is happening in Ghana.
And this was like what, 8 o'clock? Yeah, like 8 p.m. It was terrible.
But then if it was 8 p.m., then they must have been following him for a long time.
And also because, you know, like, is it the Spintex Road? The industrial road. I don't know what it's called, but like, yeah, it's the Spintex Road. Yeah, and it was busy. And now it was because like there was some traffic, so like we're kind of slowed down. So he couldn't do anything. He couldn't maneuver to this side because they're doing some construction. And then this side, there are cars coming. And obviously when the guy is pointing a gun at you, or at your son, there's nothing else to do. Just give him the money. It was quite traumatic, actually.
It sounds very traumatic.
It was quite, because it was just like one to the third car in front of me. So I like saw everything, and I was just like, Charlie. So now I was thinking, because the guy passed in front of one of the cars, I mean, our lawyer friends should come and help us. What does it mean? Like, for example, if this guy decided to rev in front of this car, like hit this guy, what would happen? You understand? Because other cars had opportunities to stop this guy by driving into him.
Yeah, but he was holding a gun.
But he wouldn't expect it.
But he was holding a gun.
But once you have, what's this thing called, driven into him, he's on the floor, the gun, moves away.
That's the best case scenario. Yeah. But I mean, would you really see a man with a gun and feel like, okay, I'm going to take the chance and drive into him? And what if he's like a trained assassin or something, and then turns on you? I don't know. I mean, I think the guy who gave the money did the best thing. The best thing. You know, don't fight it, just give it.
It was very traumatic.
So sorry.
And now I'm just thinking about the toddler.
Yeah. Well, hopefully
because
he
was
too
just
young
to remember
or to know what
just happened.
Even though probably later on in his life they will have to. Yeah. Anyway,
because the dad got out of the car and he was just shouting, and the toddler was just standing there like. It was terrible.
You wouldn't know what to do. That's really terrible.
Yeah, that is terrible.
I think we just need to be much more careful especially when you go to the bank. You know, like make sure that you're looking at the people that are following you, so that you're more conscious of your surroundings. Don't use the same route. To go home every night. We know these things, so I think that because it's Christmas time, maybe we need to. Kind of just be a little bit more vigilant.
Yeah. And we also have 2021 in review. Some big stories that made headlines between January and March.
I feel like probably tomorrow we're going to go into that.
We have that.
This year started off obviously with the bank from Parliament. Well, it started with Parliament, ended with Parliament. Because you remember the beginning of the year, they had their whole thing.
Drama,
And then the end of the year, you know,
more
they had
drama.
their whole, But let me say a good morning to my favorite parliamentarian. I'm not going to say who it is.
Oh.
yeah, you were expecting that, weren't you?
All right. I don't have a favorite parliamentarian, but good morning.
To my favorite parliamentarian.
To your favorite. Is he watching?
Why is the assumption that he's a he?
I mean, okay, is she watching?
He is a he. I'm sure he is. Anyway, let's move
I'm
on.
sure he is. Okay.
Yes.
We also have government renews curfew in Boku after shootings. Government declares Monday, January 3, a public holiday.
Don't get excited. You'll be here.
I probably won't.
You will.
Honestly.
No, but you probably have to.
I probably won't.
How do you just decide that you won't be here? It's not, but that's the thing with our jobs is that we don't go by the, statutory, exactly, because it's still TV has to run, radio has to run. So we'll be here and keeping you company on the holiday.
Yes, she
And
will
then
be.
4th January, Israel is back.
Oh, nice.
So I'm looking forward to seeing
Bralaye.
Yes, Bralaye is
Oh,
back.
Bralaye.
I can probably take a few weeks off as well. So we'll see how that goes.
Let's see. Okay, brace yourself for more cases. Virologist warns as Ghana's COVID-19 cases surge.
So just to touch on Omicron, and I'm sure we'll have that conversation a little later. Yesterday, I was watching a video about how the symptoms of Omicron are presenting very differently from the other variant.
Okay.
So you know how with the other variants, there was a time when you know that if you can't smell and you can't taste, then chances are you have COVID. But now researchers in the US are saying that 94% of people who have a cold are more likely to have Omicron than a cold.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. So the Omicron variant is presenting as a cold.
Yeah.
So the runny nose, the itchy throat, and all of that, which is very different. And then I think body pains and tiredness. Apparently, fatigue is the number one indicator.
So with fatigue, even with the other variants, fatigue
it was
quite major.
But with that one, there was also the sense of smell, the sense of taste, and then the runny stomach and all. But this one is the sore throat, but this one is presenting more like flu. So if you do have symptoms of a cold, do get tested. It's more likely that you have Omicron if you have a cold than actually. Yeah.
And it's not Hamatan.
Yeah.
Or malaria.
Or
allergies.
Right?
Yeah, so that's why people are saying, oh, it's just Hamatan. No, it's allergies.
It's just allergy.
No,
nah, probably not.
Probably Omicron. But
let's
get
tested. Let's check the dashboard and see what the numbers are
they're saying. And then take us away.
All right, so 1,074 new cases. When you were in school, like primary school, and you saw this number 1074, didn't it confuse you? The 1,000 and when the zero is end 74. I remember taking my son through learning how to pronounce these numbers.
I think the confirmed cases, the number
is more confusing.
It's more confusing because it's like, what is it? 14? Is it do you get it?
Because the comma is there.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying. For me, it was the bigger numbers.
Yeah.
This one.
No, I get that. Yeah. No, but so what my son would say is 1,074. You asked was the 1,074. I think he got that from his father. Definitely not from
Hey, shades.
Just kidding. Just kidding. Good morning, guys. If you guys are watching. So confirmed cases 141,295. Active cases is 9,534. And it'll be interesting if we could maybe get Fred Smith to join us at some point to kind of do an analysis of the active cases now as opposed to our peak points in the past, so that we can sort of see where the trend is going. 1,280, what's the last number?
80.
Can't see. Okay, we can't see. 1,287. Okay, so those are the deaths and recoveries. 130,474. So as you can see, the cases are rising. So please stay safe. Actually, just stay home. If you don't have to go out, just stay home. Especially if you're sick. There's nothing that honestly annoys me more. And this is not even about stigmatizing, but annoys me more than going somewhere and just seeing someone so visibly sick.
And they're
runny nose, eyes watering, you know, and they're out. I'm like, what are you doing?
It also depends where you see them.
Well, obviously not at the hospital. I'm talking about like the nail salon.
Okay, nail salon or what?
something.
Because I'm thinking about like at the grocery store. For example, I live alone. And most of the time, I don't have someone to go get me food or buy my groceries. So unfortunately, because I live alone and I don't have food in the house, I have to go out type of thing.
No, but there's difference between, you know, I'm running to the grocery store. And when you go to, let's say, any of these grocery stores and you see somebody who's on a mission, I'm come to get something and I'm going. Yeah. It's very different from when you see somebody lounging and, you know, maybe getting their nails done or at the coffee store, you know, sitting down. Like, and the thing is, with some of these, and have the waiter bring it to you outside. So I think it's really just about being more considerate of the fact that I have COVID, I may be fine, but I may transmit it to somebody who may die, ultimately. So, okay, that's my lecture for the day.
Yeah? All right. What else do we have on myjoyonline.com? Let's see. Okay, so Emirates.
I miss the president. I miss. Are you going to give us a New Year message, darling? Because I miss you. The last time that we heard from you was a Christmas message.
So yesterday you were blasting him.
I'm still blasting him, but you know they say that. So when the blasting doesn't work, you move to the
Oh, we miss you, darling.
Yeah, we miss you, darling.
Oh, my mind there for you.
I don't know about that, but anyway, any more stories?
All right, let's see what we have on myjoyonline.com. Can you see anything?
No.
We retaliate Emirates cancellation of flights to Ghana. That is Ablakwa to President Akufo-Addo. And we also have the Peace Council mediation team leaves Boku after being caught up in the crossfire. We'll be also touching base later in our other bulletins with our correspondents, Ilyas Utanko and also Albert Sori, for
more details
of
great.
that.
Should we move to, I don't know, maybe CNN or BBC?
Yeah. All right, so let's do graphic. Yeah. So we have graphic. What does graphic have for us? Okay, Ghana records over 1,000 new cases for 5th consecutive day. So this Omicron is really raging through the country.
Yeah. No, it is. And for a country that has largely been quite asymptomatic, it's a bit worrying. Because our numbers are usually not this high because we're asymptomatic. But anyway, we know that Omicron is presenting a little bit differently. We'll have all the details for you on that so that you know what to look out for and how to stay safe when it...
So Ghana will recover, its economy will recover. So Ghana's economy will recover in 2022 to 2023. That's according to the president. From the COVID, from the taking of the inflation, taking the money.
How are they going to recover though? Because we're just going into a fourth wave. We're actually just going into a fourth wave. So recover from what? Recover because of the e-levy, recover because we're going to borrow less, recover because we've increased production. We haven't done any of those things. Like, we really haven't done any of those things. And I said this like a million times, I think, on this show. It's, you know, the way that Ghana can actually make money and not be so borrowing reliant is to produce, manufacture. And Baumia said, you know, we're going to get into the culture of money. Chale, matches safe. We know they produce for Ghana. Matches, chewing gum,
toothpick,
all these things. So we are farm bills. You know the farm bills in the fun bill, the one that, and if times get hard, you can use it to tie your hair if you can't find a hairband. We don't do some in Ghana.
So is that
we don't do some in Ghana.
Okay. Yeah, but...
No, so you tell me how...
we will recover.
Where are we going to get the money from? Because we should be making these things and exporting. You know, we've had kente. We've had kente for years. We've had sponges and loofah and things for years. Did you see on Amazon when they were selling the sponge for how much? The
same thing with the Ghana Must Go bag.
Yes.
For ridiculous amounts of money.
We will import fan belts and then say that the economy will recover. From where? From what?
I'm sure he knows what he's talking about.
I'm sure he does.
I'm sure he does. First gentleman of the land, don't disgrace us.
An African man of the year.
You see,
yeah.
It not be small crown either way. Or let's go.
Yeah, the Bible says that the kingdom of God is not about talk, about power. So show us your power. We want to feel it in our pockets.
Oh yeah, we do.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
Yeah, actually, that's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
We want to see it and feel it in our pockets.
Thank you,
Mr. President.
Okay.
Even though we're upset you didn't invite us to the dinner.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not, but Anima is upset. So
okay, Maps.
Yeah.
Wow, thanks for throwing me another bus.
All right. So
what's
what do we
this?
have on the
BBC.
BBC?
Okay.
Any more?
Maxwell guilty of helping Epstein abuse girl. So that story ran for a long time. The Epstein guy who, there was a lot of women, around the Me Too movement time, a lot of women came up and talked about what he had done, alleged sexual abuse. So yeah, that's it. More details on BBC. Author of The Greedy Barbarian Detained. Okay. Title Race Not Over. Pep Guardiola. Ha 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 ha. You'll never walk alone. Looks like you're walking alone, but okay. Omicron and Delta driving case tsunami. And that's according to the World Health Organization. And there's a teenager who is suing 33 countries. Oh, that's interesting. You go, girl. Okay, actually, let me not say that because I don't really know what she's suing them for.
Yeah.
Can we see that story, please? Teenager suing 33 countries. Yeah, that one.
Yeah. Okay. I see. Oh, okay. So it's like what's this thing called? The climate change thing.
Okay, so
because
go
it's,
girl, right?
COP26.
Yeah, you can see COP. Okay,
Yeah.
COP26.
So
climate change.
Something about climate change.
Great stuff.
It's like Greta. What's her name? Greta Thunberg.
Oh.
Yeah, the youngest climate
change advocate.
Activist. Yeah.
Activist advocate. All right, that's it for is that it for the BBC? Can we get some entertainment news? Like what's happening in the entertainment? Please, entertainment
prefect. Okay. All right. Let's see. What's this thing called? Entertainment. We know that. Kwesi Arthur says he will be large and in charge next year.
Okay.
2022. So we should wait for him. And
he was rather quiet this year. Actually, he released No Baby Obajo. No Mojo.
Yeah. We'll be everywhere in 2022.
Okay.
And then we also have. Let's see. What do we have? Sarkodia makes history on Boomplay with 50 million streams.
That's interesting.
That is interesting.
Okay.
Okay, that's very nice. Shout out to you. Okay, Latif Abubakar's best of plays to reward patrons with an all-expense weekend stay at Royal Senchi.
Oh, that's nice.
So buy a ticket and enter the raffle.
The draw.
It's going to be exciting. And so those are some of the things. Okay, so 5 picks from a great year for African writing. So if you want to read something, we have some 5 picks for you on myjoyonline.com. And the last one, Stoneboy, says, Beanie Man tested negative for COVID-19 while in Ghana. Although...
While in Ghana. You see, I love headlines like that.
Yeah.
Beanie Man tested negative for COVID-19 while in Ghana.
Yeah.
The question is not so much the while, but the question is when he arrived, you know, was he positive or negative, and how did the Ghana Immigration Service get his passport. But anyway, I'm sure we'll find out all of those things as time goes by. Okay, I'm going to stop singing now. So we're going to take a quick break, and the light of Mapito's life will be coming on after the break. Muftal will be joining us. Well, not joining us, actually. He'll be coming to the sports. And then we will be back. We're talking Omicron this morning. We're also bringing you one of our conversations with Member of Parliament. Kwesi Parker-Wilson sat down and had that conversation. So we'll also be bringing you that. And then, who knows, you know, something exciting may come up. So don't go anywhere. This is still the AM show.
It is the day Milovan Rivard will be naming his final squad for the African Cup of Nations to be staged in Cameroon. Who is likely to be dropped? Who is likely to be maintained in the current setup he's currently got for the competition? We have those details here on the AM Sports. And also, Kumasi Asante Kotoko have been knocked out of the MTN FA Cup following a successive defeat to their city rivals, King Faisal, as well as President of the Ghana Football Association, Ket Okreko, saying that there's no one outside the football community that can unite them more than the football members themselves. Good morning, everyone. I am Muftau Nabila Ablai, and this is AM Sports. Let's start with the MTN FA Cup story of how Kumasi Asante Kotoko have been knocked out of the competition following a 1-0 loss to city rivals, King Faisals. The Porcupines suffered a second successive loss to the Inshallah Boys, having lost 3-2 in the Ghana Premier League against the same opponents. My colleague Benaya Elon Dafiamakbo monitored the game and came through with this report.
The result, which came courtesy a first-half strike from Baba Yahaya, sees Kotoko exit the FA Cup round of 64 stage. This is also the second time in less than 3 weeks that King Faisal have beaten Prosper Nate Ogum's side, having ended Kotoko's unbeaten start to the league earlier this month. The Reds boss made a few changes to the team that played against Legon Cities in the league last week, with Ibrahim Danlad replacing Razak Abalora in goal. Despite making a quick start to the game, it was King Faisal who opened the lead after Yahaya took advantage of an error by Andrews Apple to score. The Porcupines upped their game afterwards and came close to grabbing the equalizer when George Mfege created space for himself, only to shoot feebly into the hands of the goalkeeper. There were chances for both teams in the second half, but King Faisal managed to hold their own to advance to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup at the expense of Kotoko.
As Kotoko were engaged in MTN FA Cup tie, House of Oak were playing an outstanding league game against Brecum Chelsea, and a win in that game, courtesy of 2 goals from striker, that is Kofi Koji, meant that the Phobians have now moved to 9th place on the league table.
Great drive from Anani, and it's a corner. Decent save from Richmond Ayi as well. Here is Denchi. Ball across Koji! Kofi Koji makes it 1-0 for the Phobians. And the Phobians lead by 1 goal to now, courtesy Kofi Koji. Brilliant goal, first half over. Hatzabog lead. Brecum Chelsea by 1-0 has won the game, and the lead here by 1-0, but Chelsea gets us going for second half action. Anani, but here it is Kelvin Obin who does so to come take possession with a beautiful drive and a good save from Richmond Ayi. Then she's unable to get the ball to anybody, and Koji scores the second! Kofi Koji! A double for Kofi Koji! Now Mensah's ball from Koji, they were expecting Denchi to have delivered, better, but on his weaker right foot, he does it. Salifu Ibrahim is late for the ball, but he falls to Denchi again. He sends a shot across, and Isaac Mensah, the ball fell behind him. There was little he could do. All of the referee, this out to book fun. Good skill from Obin. Can Chelsea pull one back? Good defending from Caleb. Ateje's delivery again, saved by goalkeeper Richmond Ayi. He blows it, and it's over. 3 points in the bag for the Phobians. 2 Kofi Koji goals have given us the win here.
From Accra House of Oak and Asante Kotoko, now let's talk about the Black Stars. And one player who has become famous in recent times is Felix Afinajan. Well, Milovan Rivard, head coach of the Black Stars, extended an invite to him to be part of the senior national team for the African Cup of Nations. Well, the Chief Executive Officer of Atta Legacy, the agency that manages the player, says the Roma youngster could not be available for the senior national team because they feel that there's a design program to ensure he's not a 9-day wonder in national colors.
Didn't say there's a program a bit different from the Blaster. Yeah. I think that his is the development he's going through. Okay. I think during this conversation, we've really stated that the boy was in 2019 he was playing in Tascos. Yeah. In 2020, he was not playing any football, even though he has registered with Euro Africa. Because of COVID, there was no football. So you could see that his last competitive game he played was inter-schools and then to Roma. So from inter-schools to Roma, then you should know that there's a lot that this boy has to learn. There's a lot, even being a professional, he needs to learn a lot in that process. So it was at the time that he was going through the processes. Frankly speaking, if he didn't get to the first team and he was still at the Primavera level, that's the under-19, and after 1 year, 1.5 years, and then he gets to first team and Black Stars calls him, straight away we are ready. Okay, but he had just been 6 months in the Primavera and just 3 weeks in the first team. I think that he needs a little more. He needs a little more of the development process. And one important thing that I said was, we need to go through the process where the player will be ready for all of us. The benefit to Arthur Legacy, the player and the national team. We don't want a player to come in and it will be like a one day, he just come in once and that's it. Nobody will hear of him again and he goes down. But I think that if he goes through the development process, he's ready. He gets ready. He's matured. He understands the football now. He understands the professionalism. He understands it very well from Rome. So when he comes to the national team is a big platform. We would say Roma is a big club, but national team is a bigger platform. So he needs to go through the mill from Roma, and then he'll be ready for the national team. When he comes to the national team, there's no turning back. Thomas Partey went through the processes through in Atletico. Exactly. Went on different loans, came back. But when he came to the national team, he was ready, and he made an impact. And that's what we want in Afinajan. We don't want him to come just once. Ghanaians talk about him and that's it, nobody sees him again. We want him to be ready, come, and he will cement his position in the national team, and Ghana will benefit from it.
Let's still stay on the Black Stars now, because Felix Afinajan will not be part of the team for the African Cup of Nations. We've also been made to understand that Mohamed Kudus is yet to fully recover, and it means that he will not also be part of the team for the competition, though the GFA, as at yesterday, were yet to completely rule him out of the competition. They were still hopeful that there could be a miracle to have him recover and participate in the competition. Well, we've been made to understand that head coach of the team, Milovan Rajvat, will not name players to replace these two players in the squad currently he has in Doha for the competition. Well, we understand that the Confederation of African Football, due to COVID, have asked member associations to present at least 28 players. However, the member association will take care of the 5 additional players that they want to add to the team. So as it stands now, Ghana is going to the competition with 28 players. So 23 players where the Confederation of African Football will cater for their feeding, accommodation and others, whilst the Ghana Football Association will cater for the remaining 5 players that they've asked Milovan Rivals to add to their team. Well, earlier we were also made to understand that Milo wanted to go to the competition, to the camp rather, with 26 players, but the GFA had to convince him that due to COVID and with the rules being made flexible by the Confederation of African Football, he should take advantage by naming a much larger squad so that when they go for the competition, they will not be found wanting if some players are tested positive for the virus. Now, let's talk about the chairman of the Ghana League Clubs Association, Kojo Fiano, who has revealed that his office is considering a constitutional day for next year's President Cup, a competition played in honor of the sitting president. Speaking to Joy Sports, he said, though a definite date is yet to be fixed, January 7th is a possibility.
It's on the calendar. We had the last one in 2019. Then came COVID. So it's on the calendar. We also have a challenge with the date. We normally play the President Cup on the 1st of July, which used to be a statutory holiday. But now it is no more holiday. So we are playing around the dates. If you push it on 6th March, the president will be too busy with the independent anniversaries and may not have time for the President's Cup. We are also thinking of January, the Constitution Day. That is a statutory holiday, but there's no program. Since that is the date that has been set aside for the swearing in of the president-elect, I think that so we are still playing around with the date.
So Galka is not definite on the date yet?
We are not definite, but the President Cup will be played next year. It's that we are not definite on the date, but it will be played next year.
President of the Ghana Football Association, Kurt Okreku, has called on members of the football fraternity to be united to ensure they achieve a common goal, as no one outside the football industry can resolve their differences and manage the game better.
It's for all of us. And it's our collective responsibility to push the brand to the levels that will enable corporate Ghana to have the belief in our brand and to invest in our football. Selling the Ghanaian football will take your efforts and my efforts to make it attractive not only to government but to the private sector. The time is now. The time is now for you to be responsible for the agenda to market our own game. The time is now for Wo, we say Wo, Sasu, and the rest to also stand up and sell our football. Our colleagues in the multimedia will say that what did they say? What's that slogan? Something that we have advertised. It's like living in the dark. Isn't it? Doing business without advertising is like what living in the dark. You know what you're doing, but nobody else does. The time now for all of us to say once upon a time in our lives, we love our football. Our football can be challenged, but we are the same people who can fix it. You don't need any other person to fix it. And to fix it, you need to play a part. I need to play a part. He needs to play a part, and she needs to play a part. The time is now.
Still on the FA president, he says he set out to be transparent as the leader of football in the country and will not depart from his core duties.
We set out to be very transparent. We set out to roll out strategies that will enable us to reach out to not only our immediate partners, but consumers of our products in Ghana and beyond the shores of Ghana. It is as a reason why we established a fully functional communications department headed by Harry Asante-Chum. The result of that singular decision is that your communications department reaches out to millions of people than never before. The online representation, i.e. the official website, is one of the most vibrant football websites you can have on the African continent, daily updated by the comms department. Beyond the official website, we are very, very visible on all our social media platforms, all in an attempt to ensure that football, or the Ghana Football Association, reaches out to everybody, whether it's 13 million plus people in Ghana or 30 million plus people beyond the shores of Ghana.
Well, that is the president of the Ghana Football Association, Kurt Okreku, talking about transparency in Ghana football. However, we've been made to understand that FIFA will be investigating the leadership of the Ghana Football Association between 2011 and 2015. Sources have indicated to us that current executive committee member Randy Abbey allegedly received 100,000 Ghana cedis as a gift from Mid-Sea a company that led Glo to sponsor the Ghana Premier League. Well, a former vice president of the Ghana Football Association, Fred Papo, also received a similar amount of money. You would recall that in 2018, following the premiere of an expose into match fixing and corruption in Ghana football, Bas announced Almaya announced and Tiger IPI team, the former president of the Ghana FA was caught on tape, that's Kwesi Nyantakyi, was caught on tape allegedly receiving a gift of $65,000, though he says it was rather $40,000. With these kind of gifts, which led to an indefinite ban, which was later reduced to 15 years by the Court of Arbitration for Sport, FIFA has opened investigation into the leadership of the Ghana Football Association, and sources have claimed that these gifts that were given to these officials could also lead to the two of them receiving bans from FIFA. That's how we wrap up AM Sports here with me, Muftau Nabila Abla. We appreciate your company.
You're still watching the AM show. This is the show worth waking up to on DSTV channel 41 and GoTV channel 144. We'll continue with our end of year series with the Member of Parliament. And today, Kwesi Parker-Wilson brings us another exclusive conversation with WA Central MP Rashid Palpo. So enjoy.
Well, thank you very much for your time today. It's Rashid Palpo, right?
Yes.
Rashid. But we often say Rashid Palpo. We've corrupted the name. Palpo.
Yes.
I see. See. What about, we are looking at the 1 year of the hang parliament. Quite a unique parliament it is. You have 137. Your colleagues also have 137 in the House. First of all, I want to understand from you being in parliament, there's a fit time. A few years gone by. If you look at that parliament and this parliament, what is the uniqueness of this parliament?
Well, thank you so much. We've gotten to a stage in the life of the Ghanaian legislature where both sides can speak with a voice. They have confidence in that they can win a vote, and that there is no clear majority that can always push things through, and that there is some level of respectability, you know, in the two sides of the aisle. So essentially, we've got a change in the demography of Parliament, and it has created a high level of confidence in the kind of legislature we have.
Is this a change for progress or a change of stagnation?
It's a change of progress for political science observers and watchers, that eventually you have a situation where a government cannot just be autocratic in its decision and cannot just control Parliament the way they want it. It's bad news for government, because if you are used to going to Parliament and getting what you want at any point in time, and you now get to know that, look, you need to discuss with the minority, you are not sure of the kind of speaker, you can't sit in your chamber or the presidency and take a phone call and say, I want this done, and it's done. It's bad news for the government. But indeed, it's good news for the people of Ghana and our democracy. It sounded so nice.
Is it really good news for the people of Ghana? Because some say that you are stagnating government business. You are frustrating and obstructing government business.
No, we are examining to the detail government business. We are monitoring government business. We are providing enough search on what government does to itself, and the kind of responsibility a government must demonstrate to the people. We are holding them to that, and because it's the first time we are experiencing it, people are not finding it easy. You know, they think that it's an obstruction of government business. Think about what happens in the developed world, where we are copying these elements of democracy. You know, you can have an opposition throw away government business and propose a business and agree to government to draw up a business to the benefit of the people. Very recently, you can see what is happening in the UK Congress. You know, so these things are normal.
And the minority is ready to throw out government business?
If they are not in consonance with the wishes and aspirations of the people, and we can do so, we will do so.
How do you determine the aspirations of the people? Because you are not the one governing this country, are you?
Yeah, but we know what exactly is required, you know, for the people. We know what they have promised the people, and we know how to fulfill the promise. If you say you want to make sure, you know, you keep public expenditure safe, you must demonstrate that responsibility. You can't say that and then go about borrowing, nobody knows what you are doing with the money, and then you come for more. We will ask you, what did you do with the rest of them, with the rest of the money? And if you cannot provide enough explanation, we are the people. We stand in for the people. We tell you, you can't get that. Just like they are asking for more money through the e-levy. They haven't demonstrated sufficiently enough to us that the huge sums of money they have taken over the years have shown some, you know, have progressed, have created enough evidence for us to say that, look, let's give it to them anymore.
There's the free SHS policy. They're taking care of your nieces, your nephews, your constituents. You're benefiting from it.
And that's the kind of language they speak, as if that is the only thing they promise Ghanaians. They promise us so many other things, you know. They promised 350 secondary schools. Have they built them? They have promises, one district, one factory. They did a few in other places. Have they finished them? They promises dams. Have they finished them? So many other things have been promised. They have failed to deliver. They can only deliver one thing, which is not even sufficiently delivered, free secondary school, free senior high. And then, based on that, they can hide behind that and do all the bad things a government would do to the people. And, you know, a responsible opposition cannot watch them do all this.
And that's what some say, that if the government, in quote, is messing up, is misbehaving, is mismanaging the economy, just wait, leave the decision to the electorate. Let them wait. They have up to 3 years, 2024. They'll go back to the electorate. The electorate will now decide whether to renew their mandate or to boot them out of office.
That is the most...
It is not your place to frustrate government business.
It's the most irresponsible opinion by anybody, that you vote in an opposition to monitor what government does, to make sure they do the right thing, and you tell the public that, well, let them do what they want, and at the end of it, you vote for them. Who would tell the people that they are doing the wrong thing, you shouldn't vote for them again? It's our responsibility. Who should keep the public purse away from the predators and those people who want to just take money from the state and spend it on their own, privatize it and own it? It must be the opposition. So we have a huge responsibility. We can't wait for them to destroy the economy, then we turn around and say, now vote them out. No, we keep them to the pace within which they can do the right thing. Anything short of that, we would show.
So you continue to frustrate them?
No, it's not frustration. We continue to oppose responsibly. We oppose them responsibly. We show them what we are opposing. We tell them the alternative. For example, the e-levy, we said, look, there's nothing wrong about you getting frustrated because you have borrowed too much, you can't borrow anymore, you now want to raise money. Now, but do that responsibly. There's nothing wrong with starting with a certain figure like 0.5 and then go ahead with it. They don't want it that way. They want to make sure they take as much as they can from the people of Ghana who are already suffering. People have gotten to the point when, you know, they are neck deep into the waters of pain. So I think that's, we can't wait for them to get to the end of it.
But this last 1 year has been characterized with a lot of acrimony, a lot of tension. Is this what you're offering the people of this country?
No, there's no tension, there's no acrimony.
There's no tension in Parliament?
There's no tension.
There's no acrimony?
There's no acrimony.
The election of the Speaker, we saw what happened.
Oh, but you are talking about...
Recently, we saw what happened.
Oh, no, but that's not what you are talking about. You are just talking about after the Speaker, the opposition going on. You know, we will oppose them. If by opposing them we will shout, we will shout. If by opposing them they will shout to let Ghanaians know we are opposing them unfairly, they will shout. Those are elements, those are things that you will expect in any democracy. It shouldn't get to the point when you should be exchanging blows. It shouldn't get to the point.
We've been there before. It's the second time we are seeing acrimonious scenes in the chamber. First was the election of the speaker, and now the rejection or otherwise the approval of the budget.
Yeah, but I'm saying that the rejection,
regrets that action.
The rejection of the speaker, the election of the speaker aside, you know what happened. You
can't put that aside.
If you want to include that, I say yes, there was some acrimonious actions taken because there was an irresponsible conduct by the majority side, to a democratic process that got to an end. And if it means doing everything to make sure we retain that element of democracy in Parliament, we will do it. It is better to do so than to cry out and complain when a bigger conflict arises, to destroy every structure of democracy we have built over the years. So that was a necessity. We will do it again if there is any such thing.
You will do it again?
Let me repeat it.
The level of violence we saw in the chamber?
Excuse me to add to you that we will do it again to protect the country's constitution, our democracy, and to ensure that we don't have any bad elements within us who, because of arrogance, because of emotional attachment to what they believe in, will bring down the whole system of our democracy and stamp on it. We will not agree. It's better to fight that way in Parliament than to allow somebody walking with a gun to say they are destroying everything we have built. That is why I'm insisting that if we have any such elements who will walk into our system and seek to destroy it, we'll get up and fight it away, in a responsible manner that should not destroy the whole structure.
Right, so I'm getting the sense that you seek to protect our democracy. But again, there are those who said that, even though you've talked about responsible opposition, the point has been made that for those who were captured on camera misbehaving should be singled out and punished.
Oh, well, if they contradict the rules, there's nothing wrong with...
In your view, what happened to contradict the rules?
Well, what contradicted the rule major was the fact that after the election of the speaker had been done, counting was in progress. There had been obvious, it was obvious that the sitting speaker who was contesting again had lost the vote. And in the process of counting the present speaker's votes, somebody walked in or dashed into the booths and then collected pieces of the voting material and was running away with it, chewed some of it. It's highly irresponsible.
You're disappointed it wasn't punished?
Well,
or before the privilege committee.
It's important that we investigate this to the fullest and then come out with something. But a lot of water has gone down the drain.
Yeah, but that's what I'm surprised. That's what I'm asking you. A year down the line, you think that Parliament became quite lenient on him for undermining the very integrity of this house?
That's also for the public to take a decision on.
But what's your view on that?
My view is that nobody should be allowed to do the wrong and go away with it. So he
should have been punished.
So we should have further worked on it, investigated it, because if you say he should have been punished, nobody's guilty until he's found to be guilty. So it should have been properly investigated, and if he was found guilty of the offense, the right things should be done, because that should be the point we can strengthen our democratic hold, on the legislature, so that, apart from this free speech and every other thing, people must be responsible in the way they conduct themselves.
I see. So, so you are disappointed that didn't happen? I mean, the process didn't go through to investigate him further over his conduct?
No, if I say I'm disappointed, it's an indictment on me and everybody else in particular. We still have the opportunity to do something about it. Crimes or commitment, if you commit crimes.
But that's over a year.
Yeah, it doesn't die. even it can be 10 years later, it can still be brought to the fore. And then, you know,
if you feel very strongly about this, why didn't you move a motion? I mean, file a motion. I mean, call on your leadership to investigate that.
Well, the leader, I'm very, very confident in our leadership, and I know that it might just be a matter of time. If we want to take a decision, we will take the decision on that. So, and I'm very sure, I remember that all these things came to the fore. They were asked to be investigated from both sides. Investigations went on. We are yet to get the full the fullness of it. We've not gotten. We are to get to the fullness of the you know, the investigations and to know exactly what happened.
Fast forward to a few weeks ago, where members of your side, Election Ogbe, Jaja, and the likes were also seen misbehaving in the chamber. Should the same principle apply to them?
Misbehaving in what way?
I mean, you saw Election Ogbe snatching the speaker's chair. Honorable Jaja trying to grab the maize. Yes.
The gentlemen who were seen doing those things were interviewed, and I heard the Ashama MP saying when it happened, it was important to protect the speaker's chair. So he went in for it. And this other gentleman also said, look, the halubalu in the house, the maize is such an important element, or symbol. It's a symbol of authority of Parliament, and it needed not to have been. Somebody could just snatch it and take it away. So those are things that they have explained. But if we are not satisfied with the explanations, we can still investigate.
What's your view? Do you think that Parliament should investigate this? Because some say it undermines Parliament, the integrity of Parliament.
If we
the
think,
Speaker, when he returned, apologized on behalf of Parliament.
Yeah, so once the Speaker thinks that there was something wrong and he apologized, I don't think that, what will I be saying about that? That the Speaker hasn't, her apology is not worthwhile, and that we should still do something about it. You see, when we are talking about democracy, we are not talking about one particular group of people exercising democratic rights and duties, but the public as well will show responsibility in questioning some of the things that happened. If in Parliament I am sitting here, I'm not so maybe open to this, not open, I'm not discussing them to the way you want, because I'm one of them, and I might not see something wrong with what has happened. The public, if
what is wrong is wrong, what is right is right.
Yeah, if the public sees so much wrong with it, they can as well take it up, so that it must be, you know, a comprehensive approach to what it's all about, what our democracy is all about. It's not just members of Parliament. If the public are seeing it and are very disconcerted about it, they should cry out and insist that we investigate it. We are willing to do it. I'm very happy to see investigations in these matters, and I'm happy if they are investigated and people are found guilty and the right or appropriate measures are taken. Very happy about that, because I will never give anything that will, you know, I will never do or agree on anything that eventually is going to reduce, you know, the essence of our democracy. It's important that we fight to maintain it. So I support anything that will strengthen it. I support anything that will investigate any ills, you know, to bring out the right.
Is it likely we would see some of these things going forward in the next 3 years again?
You will always find them happening.
Find them happening? You can't find a way of disagreeing without resorting to violence?
You will always find them happening in situations where, like I mentioned earlier, where people will want to circumvent the rules and do what is not in accordance with our democratic principles. Yes.
If you are dissatisfied with somebody's action, you have to follow the rules.
But we are talking about irregularities that happen because others have started it. And there are some things that if you don't apply a certain measure right now, at the time the matter is happening, you will not in future get the opportunity to finalize and to finally get to correct it. For example, if we allowed the gentleman to chew the thing and walk away free, and then they count and they say, okay, there are 3 votes missing, and once they are missing, that is it, 136 has won. And then they declare that he has won. Where will you go and correct it any longer? So it has to be corrected once it occurs. There are some challenges once they come into foreplay to contradict the essence of our democracy. You fight to offset them. And once you do so, then you create the level grounds for everyone.
The acrimonious scenes, the misunderstanding, the violent misunderstanding, will play out in the next 3 years? Because looking at the numbers, 137, 138 going forward.
I hope that it shouldn't. I hope that it shouldn't, because I hope that there would not be any circumvention of the rules. And I hope also that people will respect themselves.
But
and
if they don't respect it?
If they don't respect it, then the likelihood is that people will not respect the rules as well. To ensure that the right thing is done. You see, if we wait for someone to climb to the speaker's chair and give him a slap, and you say, well, we will wait for the slap to occur before we go addressing it with the rules, you would have failed in your duty as a citizen. Once you see the person moving up the stage, you block him. If by blocking him you will have to use the muzzle, you do that.
That's use force.
Yes.
Violent behavior.
Well, the person is going for a violent behavior. You think it's normal. So I think that if you allow the bad ones to predominate the conduct of Parliament, eventually, and every other person sits and watch and say, well, let's wait until they finish it. They finish doing what they are doing violently, then we can then go to court, or we can then, you don't even need to go to court. In Parliament, we solve our own problems. And then you then apply the rules of the privileges of Parliament. You would have failed as a responsible member of Parliament.
I see now, the next 3 years, is it the strategy of the minority to give government a tough time?
It is our strategy to insist that the right thing is done. Look, in the last 4 years, there had been so much irresponsible use of resources and so much irresponsible use of the security. And we are not going to tolerate that. If we tolerate that, it will be irresponsible on our part. If we cannot monitor the effect of use of funds, then our being in Parliament is useless. If we cannot stop government from overstepping its bounds, then our use as members of Parliament in the opposition will come to nothing. So we will insist in doing the right. If by doing the right to our thinking and to our capacity, we are seen to obstructing government business, we will leave it to the rest of the public to measure. Because if you allow power to blossom the way it should go, like Lord Acton says, you know, if you have too much power, then you will give there will be irresponsibility in the use of it. So we will insist that the right thing is done.
I see. Now let's talk about how this hang Parliament. I don't know what that is, because at every point in time you're needed in the chamber. Is it affecting your activities on the ground in the constituency?
No, it's giving us more responsibility on the floor of Parliament. If you cannot travel, I listened to Adongo the other time on Metro, and he said that he couldn't travel for the chief imam's what do you call that, funeral, because he was compelled to stay in the chamber. And that is okay. I mean, you can postpone the funeral and attend later. You cannot prefer it to what is responsible in the chamber. What the people of Ghana want you to do is to stay in the chamber and do business. Now, if you take time off and travel the way you want, people just sometimes can travel out of the country because they have to attend a person's wedding and all that. or they have to do something else, somebody is sick, he
So
has
they
to
don't have the
travel
fuel
out.
anymore.
So it's creating more conscience, more commitment to the house, more ready awareness of what happens, so that responsibility to the house increases.
So you are restricted in your movement?
No, not restricted. We are compelled to do the right all the time, to stay in the chamber. Yeah, I don't think it's too much for us. It's okay. As opposition, I like to be in parliament all the time to help my people, the people of Ghana, so that the right thing is done.
I see. Now, the majority leader, do you see him being a man of building consensus with the minority?
No, at all. The majority leader is a well-experienced gentleman who has achieved a lot in his time in parliament, has gained a lot of experience in what he does. He understands government, parliament, and he demonstrates that understanding in everything he does, especially in his articulation and commentary on the law, bills and statements and agreements and etc. etc. But in the course of that, he lost in the trend, and as a result, he can't understand that government doesn't stoke fires. We don't put on fires. You put off fires, and often, he still sometimes would behave like an opposition leader.
He behaves like opposition?
Sometimes behave like an opposition leader. Will not let anybody go with a comment they make once the comment appears to touch indirectly or directly on criticizing him or criticizing the government or anything. He would rise to challenge it. When you are in government and you are a leader of government business, one of the fundamental things you do is to allow the opposition to speak. You allow them their voice, and then you repair. Once you have their voice and you have the agreements, you are done. Essentially, your job is to get people to agree to government business. If it even means lobbying behind the scenes and getting the job done, it should happen. But if you fight every single event that takes place in parliament, you spend the time fighting as if you were in opposition.
Is that what he's doing?
I'm saying sometimes the leadership there fight as if they are in opposition. They don't seem to be they don't seem to be trying to pull through government business, trying to allow some dogs to sleep and some issues to lie, but they every time want to litigate every issue. If you litigate every issue, then you find that the house is always in confusion. So I have free advice to him that it's not everything that he has to fight. He does well in many of the things, but does poorly in many of them, especially when he stands to fight every single thing that happens.
If he treads on that tangent, is good. What is actually get government business going forward?
It will not. I was a leader before, along with Cletus Aboka. We conspired, not conspired. We agree on many of the instances to allow some of the things to happen. And then, once they speak and feel that they have spoken, there are people see them speaking, fighting. And they can agree to government business. Can you imagine how do you call that one? That estate agreement, is it STX or?
Yeah, STX.
Yes, how it got through with a huge opposition from the public and from inside parliament, how it went through, is because we allow so much talking to happen. We allow everybody to speak their mind. And in the end, they were tired speaking their minds. They were happy that their opposition was seen by their people, that they opposed it vigorously. And then we put it through and we got it through. I mean, several other instances existed in that manner, where we would allow space for the opposition to speak the way they wanted, and then we got what we wanted, the agreement we wanted. And more so, we still won the elections. So what next? What next? So I think that if you don't develop the capacity to tolerates differences.
So he's not tolerant.
You would always have,
Do you think he's
have it
tolerant?
tough.
Do you think he's tolerant, the majority leader?
Well, he's tolerant to some issues and very intolerant to others. So he cannot be seen to be one of the two.
I see. So consensus, is it going to suffer, or you strive to achieve consensus going forward?
We will want to see consensus happening. We want to see the opposition respected, the views of the opposition taken into consideration, and we will work with government thoroughly. I don't want to see that acrimony happening in government. I want to see government business go through. I want to see issues brought before us with a lot of understanding between us, so we don't have the kind of huge differences cutting across the debates that we have, But in the midst of government not wanting to listen to opposition, insisting on what they want without making any shift at all, despite the opposition that we offer, you will definitely have us also insist on what we believe in, because we come from different shades of opinion.
So briefly for me, in the last 1 year, how do you describe Parliament?
In the last 1 year, Parliament has been a changed Parliament. It's not the Parliament we used to see all the time. It's been one that requires much more consideration, much more discussion. It may not happen. It's not happening the way we want, but it does happen, and so it's an experiment we are going through. It's the first time it's happening in 1992, where you have a hung parliament. So I can see that we are going through an experimental phase, which will add to the recipe of experiences that we have. That in the end, that existential quality that enables us to perform the role of both government and opposition will be enhanced.
I see. Now we are wrapping up shortly, but before that, is the NDC ready to return to power?
When NDC is 100% ready, we've had it before. John Dramani Mahama had been a leader before, had been president before. In his presidency, he showed class distinction, and people are beginning to see the difference between him and this government. His rule and the Nanado's rule. The same John Mahama is still there. NDC is determined to bring him back to power.
Is he the one you want to lead the
Very
party?
very likely. He's going to be the one.
But in your view as an MP for etc., should John Mahama lead the NDC?
Yes. 2024? Yes. He should lead the NDC. We want him to come back to power. We want NDC to come back to power. Under John Mahama, we've had it before, we've had the experience before. It's not going to be a trial and error kind of experience, So whether to ask the question whether NDC is ready for power, it's like a tautological question that you know what it is and you are still asking the question. We know that we have done it before, and we know that we still have the men, we still have the policies, very good policies, and we will be able to perform functions much more effectively. You see, it's not going to be like this government. Out of government, they thought that it was that easy. Remember when Nanado was asked, when he talked about figure, they asked him how much it will cost. You know what figure he gave? He said $78 million Ghana cedis. 78 million Ghana cedis. And you also know Baumia saying that they won't borrow money again. They won't borrow money at all, because he knows that there's money, because he had worked in Bank of Ghana before. So those were novices, experiences that didn't play into real governance. And when they were given the opportunity, they realized that everything was new. And so they had to try. And they thought that by going to borrow so much, they could do so much. They borrowed that much and did very little with it. Okay. So we don't know what they are going to do now with a few years to end it up.
So the breaking the 8 mantra, I mean, the NDC will break the 8 for the NPP.
Breaking the 8 is a political statement. It has nothing to do with the reality. It can't be a real thing. You know, it's just to satisfy their own ego and to satisfy the most faithful supporters that something is positive is happening. But every Ghanaian now knows that the MPP has failed and that they should mark time to come back again with another candidate in future, not with the present leadership, not with Baumia.
No, Baumia?
No, not with
Baumia. Baumia is someone who hails from the north.
But John Mahama also hailed from the north, but he criticized him. He criticized him to the point of death. So, I mean, that has nothing to do with this politics. I like Baumia as a young man, you know, as a person who has made history. But what he has demonstrated over the last 5 years has shown failure and has shown incompetence, has shown lack of foresight, has shown that they can't continue. I think it's obvious for every Ghanaian. If you go to any community, call any young man and ask him about whether the MPP has done well or not, they'll say they better go.
Right, Honorable, well, thank you very much for your time. Today, Rashid Popo is the Member of Parliament for our Central, and of course, he's confident NDC is coming back in 2024, and definitely the government will face some tougher opposition going forward into the next 3 years. I'm Kwesi Parker Wilson, and this is Joy News.
Welcome back. This is still the AM show, and we're doing this until 9 o'clock. My name is Animani Mado, and I'm doing this with Mapitso Sabiri. So this morning, we're going to talk about COVID-19 and the new variant that has hit us, which is causing the 4th wave of COVID-19. Cases are on the rise. But the question is, what's next? How are we going to deal with this? Well, let's talk to some experts on this issue. This morning, Dr. Fred Adumako-Boateng, the Bono East Director of Health, is joining us. Also, Dr. Kwame Sapong Asiedu, who is a CDD fellow, joining us to kind of help us figure out our way through Omicron, come out alive, hopefully. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Aliwa.
How are you? Hello?
Well, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Everything good?
Well, yeah, as good as good can be. At least I'm in Ghana, so it's a different situation.
Right, great. Things are going on well.
That sounds amazing. So glad to have you guys. Okay, so, Kwame, look at you looking like you're feeling hot. I don't think I've seen that for a long time. You're always, kind of coldish and stuff. So, great stuff. And I absolutely love your outfit. Doc, are you going somewhere?
Yes, I'll be stepping out and then going around the hospital to see how they are doing.
Oh, great. Okay. So let me start with Kwame, because I was watching a video yesterday about the presentation of Omicron as opposed to some of the other variants that we have, and there seem to be a few differences. Just hoping that you can take us through some of these differences and what Omicron is presenting like, especially the U.S. research, which shows that people in the U.S., if you have symptoms of a cold, it's more likely that you have Omicron as opposed to a common cold. So do you want to just take us through, some of the symptoms and what to look out for and what it's presenting like?
Well, thanks. I mean, if you look at this virus, basically it keeps mutating, and as it mutates, it changes the way or the feelings that human beings get. So you'd realize that initially when it started, they said when you lose your taste, if you lose your smell, it was a characteristic sign. Then as it went on with Delta, a lot more things started adding, like body pains, nausea. What is being seen disproportionately because of the way it's mutated. So it would replicate, or it would grow 70 times more in your throat compared with, say, the Delta variant, which then means that
okay, looks like Kwame's internet is playing up a little bit. So let me come to you, Doc, whilst we try to re-establish connection with Kwame. So, okay, do you want to take us through some of the differences, just like what Kwame was doing, if you can finish up for him?
Okay.
So I quite remember we were having discussions with the case management team, national case management team for Ghana Health Service. And we were typically looking at the signs and symptoms of Omicron as compared to the others. And we just jump onto a classical signs and symptoms, and we said, look, it's just presenting like malaria, together with the other stuff of cold that Kwame is talking about. And that makes it very difficult. You believe this WhatsApp going around, is it cold? Is it Hamatan? Is it Omicron? Please go and check for Omicron. So that's the challenge with some of these diseases. The presentation, the signs, symptoms, it typically is the same as compared to most of the diseases that we are having. In addition to cold that a lot of people are having, which looks typically like a common flu or the cold. Basically, these are the presentations. They are not different. And I think that is the challenge that we have. For 2 cases that we have lost, one actually came, he was doing very well, and then he presented to the hospital. Within 4 hours, the person was gone. And the presentation, as we were talking about, is common cold, fever, headaches. Then he started having difficulty in breathing, and then that's when they rushed the patient to the hospital.
Okay, wow. Internet today is tricky, isn't it? Okay, Kwame, I'm going to come back to you because it looks like the internet is playing up again. So, I mean, I want to talk about vaccines for a second. You've seen some of the pictures, that we've had, concerts and having fun and all of that. The assumption is that a lot of people in these pictures are vaccinated. Truth be told, does the kind of vaccination numbers that we've done in Ghana, is that going to reflect in the kind of numbers that we're going to see after Christmas, or is it not going to make a difference? Because right now we're doing about 1,200 cases a day. So I'm not really sure, what significant impact the vaccination has actually had on the population, on whether the issue is just that not a lot of us are vaccinated. Okay, okay.
Anyway, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, we need to be a bit realistic and say that those who are fully vaccinated in the country currently are not up to 10%.
Okay.
So 90% of our population is not vaccinated. One. Number 2, the current driver of this wave, the 4th wave we are in, Omicron, is known to have what we call immunity. So you realize that a lot of people are saying that even vaccinated, you are getting infected, and using that as a line of argument that the vaccines don't work, which is not true. The fact that all vaccines stop transmission, any transmission, there's a percentage of transmission they can stop, like percentage of hospitalization, percentage of mortality. So with a low vaccination coverage and high transmission rates, I'm afraid our current vaccination level
Okay, looks like we're having internet issues this morning.
Because like I have been telling anyone who's kept the next few days, we have Hello?
Kwame, your connection is very bad, so you keep on coming in and out. We're not getting your full submission. Okay, so maybe we're just gonna log off and then call Dr. Kwame Sapwa back. Okay, so Doc, let me just talk to you then. So, like I asked, do you think that the numbers are going to reflect the fact that some of us have been vaccinated? Do you think that the fact that some of us have been vaccinated means that we're letting our guard down? And what are you expecting in the next few days or few weeks when you look at the numbers of about 1,200, new cases each day?
Thank you. So let me give you some figures that we have in Bono East regarding the vaccination status of active cases that we are having. Currently, we are having 143 active cases, and then we are tracking their vaccination status. So I can give you some. So if you see those who are having the mild and asymptomatic for the active cases that we are having, there are 59 of them. And then those who are having mild and asymptomatic, they have partial, those who have gotten at least one dose, there are 14 of them. And then if you are looking at the people who have not gotten any vaccination at all, the number is 61. Okay, now let's look at the moderate cases that we are having in Bono East. For those who are fully vaccinated, we don't have any. Those who are partially vaccinated, none of them is presented with moderate. But all the 8 cases of moderate cases are having no vaccination at all. Then let's look at the severe cases that we have. Currently, we have 5 cases on admission that are severe, and all of them have no vaccination at all. Then let's look at the critical cases. So 3 of them on admission, and all of them, they have no vaccination at all. So I can give you the total. Those who are fully vaccinated,
Okay, looks like we're having a few technical issues with internet this morning, but we will try and raise our guest back. Okay, Doc, so you were saying?
yes. So the figures, I can give you the figures again.
Okay, we were at the 3 critical cases who haven't been vaccinated.
So all the 3 critical cases that we are having in Bono East now, they have no vaccination at all. So these are the figures that we are looking at. And so you see that a form of vaccination actually confers some protection. And that's why we are saying that we are in early days for us to jump. If you come to Bono East, at least 32% of the population, the eligible population for Bono East is 730,700. Out of this number, about 33% have gotten at least 1 dose. And then about 11% of us are fully vaccinated. So you can see that vaccination actually plays a major role in terms of the disease presentation that people have. So that gives us a strong reason for us to embark on the vaccination exercise that we are having. The challenge that we have to look at now is that still we have some form of Delta and Omicron. And you see that the Omicron presentation kind of is milder as compared to the Delta, as we are saying. But you see that variant in the younger population, and therefore having a shorter incubation period and be able to even recover faster. We don't know much about this variant in the people with the comorbid and the people with challenges. So these are early days yet that we cannot see that, look, Omicron is milder, therefore we have to lose our guards. So we have to take that because currently, but you see the Delta is still around and presenting the same way with higher severity as compared to Omicron, and then also in the elderly causing a lot of mortality. So we have this kind of double burden of Delta combination of Omicron, and therefore we have to be careful the kind of statement that we make. It means that still the Delta is around, and because the Delta is around, and we know the vaccines really work against the Delta, we have to embark on massive vaccination. In addition, the vaccination also confers some protection with people with Omicron. So that is the state that we are in now, that we can take the discussion from there.
The numbers that we're seeing, the daily cases, over 1,000, is that cause for alarm? Are you worried?
Yes, these are numbers anyway. We expected the numbers based on the numbers are product of a lot of factors. I mean, the behavior that they are mounting towards this pandemic leaves much to be desired. We know what to do, and the reflection. You know, Omicron, the doubling rate of Omicron is about 1.5 or 2 days we are doubling. So, in fact, we are even having a different presentation. If you look at the Western countries, the UK and the US, almost every other day they are doubling. But you see, our numbers is still hovering around 1,000 new cases. But if you look at the epidemiology or the behavior of the virus, we should be talking about 2,000 the next day, 4,000 the next 2 days,
8,000, 16, 32.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So you see, that's the doubling, but the presentation is kind of atypical in our setting if you compare it to others. So it means that there is some element that we have that is helping us, and we can ride on that. Because look, in the US, they are breaking their record almost every day, to the extent that testing has become difficult, especially with the antigen. And then the UK, they are breaking records. But how come we are still hovering around the 1,000? So it means that there is something good for us that we can leverage on. And we come back to the old tested try methods that we know of. The masking. To tell you the truth, I don't take my family to anywhere where there are crowded people. I don't do that. If we can still limit the crowd, and we have to hold, I think this one we have to call the RESEC. They are supposed to make sure that we enforce the protocols that we have in place. It has to be enforced. If you are going out and you are not in mask, it means that you don't know the situation or the seasons that we are in now. But one thing that we're also looking at, we have discussed this over and over. People are in their communities and not enforcing the protocol. You have people at Osu, Medina, those communities. People, when they come out to play together, people in households, when they come out to play together, they are not masked. They think when they are going to the market, that's when they should put on their mask. But when they come back to the house or to the community, they don't. One observation that I made at Kintampono Hospital, when the minister toured the hospital, the moment people were entering the hospital also, they put on the mask. But when they leave the hospital, they take it off. So a lot of challenge with the behavior. But they have been saved. As you look at the trajectory of the Omicron, how come we are still 1,000 instead of, if you want to look at the behavior of the virus, But mind you, we have a lot of health workers also now having the problem, which we are picking from the community. And if you are not careful with the rates that we are going, and we have challenging times ahead. We have to advise ourselves, go back and pause the protocol that we know works. And those of us who have not gotten the vaccine, I think it's time that we go and get the vaccine.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you very much. Let me speak to Dr. Kwame Sapasiedu, who joins us again. Doc, so I was just asking Dr. Adumakobo asking about the numbers. So we're doing about 1,200 a day as at 25th December. Does that cause some alarm for you? Are you a little worried about the numbers that we're doing?
Yes, I am. I am worried. So far, yes, for all the 3 waves, we seem to have gotten off line. I mean, our worst patch was during the second wave. If anyone remembers, similar time last year, moving into January.
Doc, I'm going to have to ask you to speak up a little bit. I can hardly hear you.
I am saying that if you look at our numbers, yes, you should have cause for concern. So far, with this pandemic, we seem to have come off very light. The most difficult patch for us was in the second wave, around this time last year, first January and first second week of February, where our mortalities were higher, our hospitals were full. Now we're dealing with a different wave. And a lot of the data we have is from societies where vaccination levels are high. Our vaccination levels are low. Compounding that further is what Dr. Adumaki was saying, which is our inability to comply with the system. Then there is the collective failure of all of us, from lack of enforcement to press houses like yours, like others, publicizing events that lead to mass gatherings, people going for these gatherings, not wearing their face masks. So I've come to the conclusion that we are conspiring to put ourselves in a position whereby we fall timing. I am not too sure how that strategy will play. And that is where my concern is coming from. Because generally, as a collective society, we are conspiring to go on a car crash with this Omicron variant. And when the car crashes, it would only have one or two results. We might all survive the car crash, or we might have mortality and that may survive. And that is the honest. And for me, that's the concern.
Okay, so I mean, at this point, now that we've kind of done the peaks of Christmas, and all of the going out and the chilling and all of that. At this point, moving forward, what can we do so that we don't see crazy numbers in January? And in the first place, is there even anything at all that we can do? Or should we just expect, like you were saying previously, should we just expect that, we're going to have these crazy numbers and kind of get a plan in place on how to deal with it?
No, there are a number of things you can do. And for me, as for the numbers for the next 10 days, we cannot do anything about it because we've caused the contagion. And we just have to be honest about it. That if you, like Dr. Adumako was saying, I don't go into mass gatherings. If you went into mass gatherings and all that, your probability of getting infection is high, especially if you do it. What we can do is to stop the ripple effect, the exponential growth, by saying from now on, we're going to comply with the protocol. So even those who've gotten infected, minimize their risk of infecting others in their community. That's one thing. The second thing we could do is in the workplace, where last January, the spread was potentiated. If I was unemployed, I would at least try and get some form of antigen testing to test my team before the workplace opens. So that if people are positive, they stay at home. Only those who are negative come to work. Because the minute you come into the workplace with the air conditioning and all that, if people are positive, then we're going to have another answer. Then finally, we need to publicize the new signs and symptoms, like the itchy throat, like having a slight sneeze and all that, that people should get tested. And in doing so, we need to make sure that these tests are affordable. Otherwise, people are not going to test. If we're able to do that, then I can see us just avoiding the car crash. If we go down the route we're going, unfortunately, I cannot see that.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that, Dr. Kwame Sapwasiedu. Let me just get your final thoughts, Dr. Fred Adumako. Just, you know, what can we do to make sure that, you know, our numbers don't go up? How do we stay safe? And looking forward, I mean, what are some of the things that you're expecting to be put in place to ensure that we don't have a repeat of last year?
So I'll start with institutions, like Kwame said. For our hospitals, we need what we call rational use of our staff. It's very important so that you don't expose all your staff. So you have to have rational utilization of your staff, where you do a pragmatic timetable so that you rotate them at any point in time. You have a critical mass that can take care of the sick.
Okay.
Because if you are not able to do that, what is going to happen is that, you know, the malarias are still there, the road traffic accidents are still there. We are going to have women delivering. So if you don't have that critical mass, then you have a lot of what we call unintended consequences, where people are going to die, which actually are not going to stem from the COVID. So these are indirect effects from the COVID infection. So let's all managers put in rational staff rotation, and then also put what we call health workplace surveillance, where you do either active or passive monitoring of your staff to make sure that those who are not well and can infect others are isolated with a minimum number of days, looking at the current protocol that we have. So that when you do this, you tend to cut infection among health workers and also giving it to other people, have critical mass that you can take care of the population. That is for us. Now, apart from that, we also have other institutions. I mean, banks, large workplaces, factories. You can also employ this rational utilization of your staff, cohorting your staff so that you don't expose all your staff at a point in time. So even if you have any person infected, you can curtail the spread. You can also put in workplace surveillance, whereby you check temperatures, and then people who are sick they will stay home. And then enforce the basic things that we have. Anyway, even Joy FM, make sure you also utilize that rational use and make sure that the common things that we know, and then we enhance them, the hand hygiene, the social distancing that we talk about. Churches, we know 31st is a big day for all of us, both churches and other areas. Please make sure that at least your service is not more than an hour. You can break your service into about 3 or 4, where you can control and have social distancing. So this is what we can also do in our churches, and also ensure that you put on in the surveillance as people are coming. Make sure you check the temperature. Those who are not well, get a place for them so that they can be isolated, and enforce the social hand hygiene and all those. So these are the things that we can do. For the general population, avoid crowds. Now is the time for individuals to take action. You have that control where you can go with your family. So large places, please, as much as possible, avoid them. And also for event organizers, make sure that if you are going to organize these mass events,
okay.
The numbers should not be so huge that you can't manage. And then those who don't have...
Okay, yeah, definitely looks like we've lost him. But I mean, I think that we get the heart of what both of our doctors are saying. You know, stay safe, basically do the things that you know to do that are good and that will help you not contract COVID-19. So wear your mask, wash your hands, try not to go out if you don't have to. Let's do, the workplace shift system. Let's not put all our staff on the front lines. Let's manage that so that there's not too much stress on everybody. And hopefully we should be all right. Most importantly, get vaccinated, because if you do, then obviously it lessens the severity at which you may, when you contract the disease, the way that it will affect you. So we're going to move on now. Thank you so much to Dr. Kwame Sapwasedu and Dr. Adumako Boateng for joining us this morning. We're most grateful for your time.
Anymore, one of Ghana's pristine buildings stands in what used to be a play area for colonial administration workers and elites of the Gold Coast. The Ghana Club, founded in 1947, was a hotbed where some of the country's greats, from Kwame Nkrumah to President Mills, met to discuss anything on a busy area in downtown Accra. Justice Beatty went to meet those working to keep the legacies of Ghana Club alive.
A 20th century relic nestled inside what is now an enclave for government ministries and agencies. In pre-colonial Ghana, this place was a play area for Gold Coast elites, mainly European, their friends and Africans privileged to be working with them. Today, almost 100 years on, it stands almost like an oasis in a busy downtown Accra, overlooked by the Independence Arch, the Black Star Square, and the ocean.
Ghana Club goes back to my childhood.
Dr. Adrian Ni Odoi's father was president of the Ghana Club in 1974. Today, an accomplished medic himself, he too has been elected president.
We had 2 tennis courts then outside, and we would be the ball boys. As our parents and their friends were playing, we would be the ball boys, and we would be rewarded with Coca-Cola or Fanta and some kebabs then.
Godfred Jan Nyante first came to work at the club in 1980. Today, 45 years on, he is the club's oldest and longest serving staff.
5th April 1980. That's when I came here in 1980, 5th April. There was a lot of members as at that time. Dr. Joseph Rata was a member. Professor Adubuahin was a member. The late Akosa, that is Professor Akosa's brother, was a member. I will be 7, and I'll be 7 at this time. I'm laughing, and I'm also 7 because of their cracking of their jokes, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, and you can see that they are in a group, a nice group, which has been continued as such today.